Welcome back to the Bearded Console Gamer, and today I'll be presenting you with the Weekly News Roundup, wherein I wade through a tsunami of video game news and plate up only the juiciest information cutlets for your viewing pleasure. And this has been a hell of a week for news. PlayStation has announced an imminent yet limited state of play, we got details on which PS4 peripherals are potentially compatible with the PS5, and the entertainment giant has bogarted SpiderMan for the upcoming Avengers game. Microsoft's response to all that appears to be general sassiness, and that's all just Sony. In the wider gaming world, we're getting another edition of the Night City Wire, so we'll get more CyberPunk 2077 information. I'll also fill you in on the Analogue Pocket pre-order, the Call of Duty Warzone and Fortnite updates, issues with the Fall Guys game, and finally, the rarest beast of all, Nintendo Switch announcements. This episode's coming at you a day early, as I wanted to get a roundup of the state of play up on Friday, so look out for that, and please remember to like this video and subscribe if you enjoy my content, as it's a new channel and it helps a lot. First up, we had a ton of news from the Sonyverse, starting with the announcement of a 40+ minute state of play that'll focus on revealing new footage and gameplay from third-party titles and indie games that'll be coming to the PS4 and PSVR. If you want to catch it live, you can tune into Sony's YouTube channel later today at 1 PM Pacific Time or 9 PM BST if you're weathering the apocalypse in the UK. In an official blog post, Sony explicitly stated that, whilst there will be a few updates on PS5 games shown in the June showcase, there will be no new details on the next-gen console's hardware offering, pricing, or release date. That'll be sure to frustrate some fans, but at least they'll be getting a lengthy presentation to tide them over as Sony holds back on divulging the big news until Microsoft fires off its next salvo. By the way, regardless of expectation management around the PlayStation event, I wouldn't be surprised if they slip in a short teaser for a big next-gen title right at the end just to up the ante in the hype war with Microsoft. We also got some official info on how the current DualShock 4 controller will work with the PS5, and which PS4 peripherals will be compatible with the next-gen system. The biggest news here is that the DualShock will work with the PS5 in terms of the UI, and can be used with PS4 games that are being brought to the next-gen system, but it won't be compatible with next-gen games in themselves. For that, you'll have to use the DualSense. This isn't a problem if you use your console for single-player experiences, but it creates a financial barrier to players looking to play locally with friends. Microsoft, meanwhile, allows full previous-gen controller compatibility, but they also haven't moved their pad forwards much in any meaningful way, so it may not be an entirely fair comparison. We're also told that select peripherals such as officially licensed joysticks and steering wheels will be compatible with the PS5, but it'll be worth checking with the manufacturer as there will be exceptions. There'll also be support for Platinum and Gold headsets, but the headset companion app will not be compatible with the PS5. It was at this point that Microsoft decided to get a little bit sassy and post this tweet from their official Xbox accounts. For my full thoughts on this and Sony's reasoning behind the DualShock move, check out my short video which I'll post at the end of this roundup. Sony also revealed that SpiderMan is going to be a post-launch PlayStation exclusive for the upcoming Square Enix Marvel's Avengers game. This upset a lot of Xbox players and has been branded by some as anti-consumer. I can see both sides. Of course Sony wants to solidify their relationship and make their console synonymous with the fan favourite hero, but doing so at the expense of other console players is pretty alienating. It's just another salvo in the console war rather than an effort to encourage more gamers into their tent. Moving on, CyberPunk 2077 fans rejoice as CD Projekt Red has invited us all to another episode of the Night City Wire, which is set to take place on August the 10th at 9 o'clock Pacific Time. This time we're going to learn more about how life paths will affect the game and how it plays out, along with the types of weapons that you'll be able to use while partaking in aggressive negotiations. A life path, by the way, is the name given to each of the 3 protagonist backstories the players can pick from at the beginning of the game. Depending on which one you choose, your player will have different stats and options, and it'll even dictate where you start your adventure. Earlier this week, pre-orders for the highly anticipated Analogue Pocket went live, and then almost immediately sold out. For those who haven't stumbled across it yet, the Analogue Pocket is a sleek, high-end, retro handheld console that lets you play old cartridges from the Game Boy era, and you can also buy adapters that let you play titles from other OG systems like the Atari Lynx and the Neo Geo. It has a 3.5-inch LCD display with a 1600 by 1440 resolution, and you can dock it to the big screen if you get the attachment. Fudge it, I want it so much. All that goodness comes with a hefty price tag of $199.99, a price that I would have happily paid if I had just been a bit more competent. But I'm not. I'm slow. And this week I paid the price for that slowness. This failure hurts all the more in the knowledge that there are monsters out there eBaying their pre-orders for an extravagant markup. After said pre-orders came and went, the company put out a tweet informing us that they will be making more of the Pocket consoles and that you can sign up to be notified when another pre-order goes live. The wording of that tweet also suggests that, unsurprisingly, they're being hindered in production by the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, Bethesda have announced that Doom Eternal and The Elder Scrolls Online will both be getting next-gen ports for the PS5 and Series X that will come free of charge to players who already own the game. There's no release date yet for either port as of writing, but we can expect more info in the coming weeks. This week also saw major updates to Battle Royale games Fortnite and Call of Duty Warzone. Fortnite's Joyride update dropped yesterday and brought drivable cars and even a truck to the popular title. On the same day, Warzone also saw the launch of its 5th season, which has seen the roof of the Verdansk Stadium collapse to reveal a whole new battleground, and the addition of what can only be described as a murder train full of loot. There's also exterior ziplines, a ton of new unlockables, and a set of new operators who form a new faction called the Shadow Company. Just a quick warning if you haven't booted Warzone up recently and want to play it anytime soon, the update is freaking huge. It's 33.9GB on the PlayStation and you'll need 90 spare just to install it. To make things worse, if you have an Xbox, it's going to be 54 gigs on that hard drive, so clear some space. In other news, the new hilarious 60-player free-for-all multiplayer game Fall Guys launched on PlayStation and PC this week, and it's been an instant classic straight out of the gate. Despite scoring well though, the game wasn't squeezed into the world entirely free of pain. The developers hugely underestimated the amount of people who would clamour to play the game, which has led to matchmaking issues, but the team is in the process of upgrading their server capacity, so things should run a little bit more smoothly. Oh, and judging by these tweets, they may have secured some Witcher aesthetic gear. Somebody get this PR team a crown. Now, moving on to that rare magical unicorn that is Nintendo news, you can lather me with butter because we actually have got a game announcement. A deluxe version of Pikmin 3 is coming to Switch on October 30th. The new version of the game will come complete with all DLC from the original, along with new side missions and multiple difficulty modes. On the business side, Nintendo also released a ton of financial data earlier today, revealing that the Switch has sold to the tune of a very moist 61.44 million units, and that Animal Crossing has already sold a ridiculous 22.4 million copies. It literally only came out in March, and it already has more lifetime sales than every game on the Nintendo Switch with the exception of Mario Kart. It's still just a child, and yet it's outsold Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Breath of the Wild, and Odyssey. One quick side note, Sword and Shield has now sold 18.22 million units, making them the 3rd highest selling Pokemon games to date. Onto something slightly less tangible, the Taiwan Digital Game Rating Committee has rated No More Heroes for Switch, which almost certainly means that the cult classic will land on the platform potentially as early as this year. That's a lot of news considering that deathly silence is Nintendo's #1 kink. And that's it for your almost weekly news roundup. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell if you enjoyed the video. I'll be putting up another video on Friday covering the PlayStation State of Play, so be sure to check that out, and stay tuned for more gaming news, reactions, roundups, and reviews.